Hello and welcome to Differential Discussions. I'm Melissa,
And I'm Dave.
and we're back to talk about leukemias with you again.
Yeah, so we're doing these sequentially.
Mhm.
We just did one.
Yep.
Now we're on to two.
Yep.
Personally, my least favorite.
Yeah. So again, this one is under the WHO classification, not otherwise specified, M2.
Yep.
And some of the recurrent cytogenetic abnormalities look like this. So you may see the full spectrum of neutrophilic maturation in some of the recurrent cytogenetic abnormalities, and then of course under M2s.
Yeah, so I guess generally speaking, morphologically, what we're expecting to see is, well, everything, right? So a little bit of you're going to see blasts, pros, myelos, metas. There's no real restriction here. So yeah, and we've stopped on this field in particular. And let me know what you think. But these two cells that are stuck together, also a shout out to the beginning of the last video where we talked about leukemias losing this contact inhibition. So abnormal to have in a normal patient, normal circumstances, have two cells adjacent like that. So that's a little bit weird. But they're not blasts, are they, Melissa?
None of these are blasts.
Womp, womp, womp. So what I do see here, though, is a little bit of weirdness still, right? Some of the granulation and the general color of the cytoplasm isn't really making a whole lot of sense. So when we make classification calls here, is it a meta or myelo and pro? We're doing our best with the circumstances that we have here. So yeah, for these two in the middle, what, myelo, right? What do you think?
I think they're both myelos.
Yep.
And where I'm giving my reasoning from is because I know this is a pro myelo.
Good point. So now we know for sure that a pro can look like a pro in this particular patient.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. So ignore this. This is a platelet. That's not part of it. but this is our promyelocyte. And promyelocytes, remember, look like a blast with granules. And you can see we've got a huge nucleus, really prominent nucleoli. You've got one here. You've got another one over here. And then you've got primary granules. So we know he's a promyelo. So because I know he's a promyelo, I can look at these two and say, well, they're more mature than the pro.
Right.
So the next best is that they're myelos with the eccentrically placed nuclei. And you can see that the chromatin pattern is more mature. This one may still have actual nucleoli, which myelos don't usually do. But again, we can have nuclear cytoplasmic asynchrony.
I think that's the correct terminology for, I think, what's going on here, right? Is that they're a little bit out of sorts with their synchronization of what's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
But cool.
All right, let's see what else.
Yep. Okay. Is this where our blasts are going to kind of look like, I guess, or?
He's kind of weird.
Yeah.
He almost looks too clumpy to be a blast.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And
so
then he's got these fine granules over here.
So we might have a lymph or something. Is that?
I think he's a lymph.
Yeah.
A wonky looking. He's not reactive, but he's spready.
Yeah.
I think he's a lymph.
Okay. I can go with lymph.
I don't like him very much.
Okay. So now we're seeing, so this one, there's always going to be cells where it's like, hey, I don't know, I don't know. And also it's a problem when you look at the slide label and it tells you what's the disorder. That like influences your thinking a little bit. So try to like block that out if you can. But this guy right here, now I'm seeing weird kind of chromatin patterns.
Yeah.
much more suggestive of a blast form.
Yeah. Yep. The other thing about doing diffs is that, let's say we did those 4 cells and we came to this one and we had called the other one a blast. Now we'd be like, oh, nope, I was wrong. Maybe you're starting over. How many times did you start a diff and then go, nope, and restart over because you're like, ah, crap, I was calling the wrong thing. So we, even to this day, have done that. And we'll have to reset our diff counters and start all over again. So it happens.
Countless times. Yep. And it's the correct procedure.
Yes.
It totally is normal. You're not bad at diffs if you do that. You're good at diffs. Differentials is about as much art as it is science. It's, sorry to say for some of you, and maybe some of you can appreciate that, but yep. Reset. So you'll have to help me with the granules here, but talking about the nucleus, it looks more clumped and mature. Some of the granules look like they might be kind of large to me. And so I might think about like some kind of an immature baso kind of thing. But
not that large yet.
Okay, so this just looks like a Milo.
Yeah.
And some of our Milos had those weird kind of granules in them, right? So
so baso granules will be larger,
mm-hmm.
even at the Milo stage. So even though these are larger than what we're used to seeing, it's a malignancy, and their primary granules are a little bit bigger, or so,
sure.
So this definitely looks like a neutrophilic Milo.
Mm-hmm. Right. This person's Milo.
Yeah, this one right here.
Okay. All right. So
we laugh because we're like, huh.
So should we start on the one on the left, I guess?
Yeah, sure, why not?
So what my eyes are seeing looks like 2 lobes.
Yes.
So definitely in the neutrophil lineage, and I mean, it's kind of a neutrophil, I think.
Yeah.
It's goofy, but
I think he's just hyposegmented, and
yep. His
nuclear chromatin pattern is not where it should be.
Right. It still looks pretty immature for where he's at. The cytoplasm is light, but the cytoplasm tracks with a more mature kind of cell, I guess. Yeah. It's goofy, but I guess I'd call it a neutrophil.
Yeah.
I wonder how our audience received that. And then on the right, what do you think, Melissa? So
I think he is I think he's a meta.
And so is it the position that's kind of off to the side?
I don't like how the NC ratio is so high.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like.
And so the NC ratio, what would that suggest? How high the NC ratio is?
Usually when you have a huge NC ratio or like a really high NC ratio, then you have a really huge nucleus, which metas don't normally have a large nucleus. They usually have a very small nucleus, and that's getting ready to segment off.
Right. This actually, I think if we just took color out of the thing, this kind of looks like a pro size nucleus, and the cytoplasm, the NC ratio. No.
Yeah, the NC ratio, yes, it's more characteristic of a pro-myelo.
Right.
But the chromatin pattern is suggesting that it's more of a meta.
Yeah.
And the cytoplasm is kind of like in between myelo and meta.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm going with meta.
Yeah. Cool. I like that. And we generally, also for the viewers, we generally subscribe to rounding up on maturity.
Yeah.
So, your mileage may vary depending on institution procedures and stuff, but Mm. Yeah, so then we get these real weirdos. Is there any chance that this is a lymph, Melissa?
I
Or
think it is.
okay, cool.
It's too clumpy to be a blast.
The-
And
the-
I don't see a prominent nucleoli.
right. So that's where I was actually considering. I can't see a ton of the cytoplasm, and it might be kind of pinkish. This could have been like a weird neutrophil, but yeah. So lymph. That makes much more sense.
Is this a lymph?
Ugh.
So I think it's a myelo.
Yeah, yeah, it's ugly. Oof.
It's very ugly, but it's eccentrically placed. The chromatin pattern is
Very clumped.
older myelo,
Yeah,
and the cytoplasm I feel like is more saying I'm a myelo
yeah, yeah.
than a meta.
So lots of clumping in this chromatin pattern. It, yeah. I don't even want to talk about this one.
The clumpiness is very different from the lymph, though.
True. Yes.
That's why it's not a lymph.
It actually looks abnormal in its nucleus does not look great. But on the spectrum of where we're talking about clumping or like that velvety smooth, it's definitely towards the clump side of things.
Yep.
But it's weird. The contours are bumpy. It's a little weird.
But I can see students looking at that saying it's a lymph.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because of the last one we just looked at.
Yep. And again, I don't think it's like a grave sin. It's just not the best call. You have someone singing at your house?
I don't know what she's singing at, but she's downstairs singing.
Cool. A lymph.
Hey!
Hey.
Something we can look at and say, I know what you want. It's a lymph. So this one's got a little bit more cytoplasm, but he's still got the characteristic lymphy cytoplasm with the lymph chromatin clumping.
Yep. Pretty guy. Pretty cell. It's good to see a normal cell every now and then. Okay. Yeah.
Yay!
This is normal-ish neutrophil.
Normal-ish.
Normal-ish.
Ish.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Oh, cool. I love this field.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, that absolutely stunning pro. You have a big nucleoli, but you got a blue cytoplasm. You got those pretty primary granules. I still don't think like there's still a spidey sense in me that's like this isn't a normal cell, right? But it's definitely a promyelocyte. And then of course we have this lack of this contact inhibition. It's got this up close to its buddy here. This one's a little bit more, I think takes a little bit more thought, maybe towards the myelo side of things. How do you feel about this cell? Because the colors are kind of
I think
off.
he's a lymph.
You think he's a lymph? Sick.
I think he's just a bigger lymph because the chromatin doesn't really match. Like if you look at this cell and this cell,
Yes.
this chromatin pattern is not like this chromatin pattern.
Yes.
And
I
this
agree.
one is also not like this one.
I agree.
So I feel like this is lymph
Okay, I can see that.
chromatin because this is a pro. This looks like that between that myelo meta line.
Yep.
So then we'd go with a meta, even though the nucleus is perfectly round. And
Dude, screw this cell. Like the fact that the nucleus is just in the middle like that, like get out of here. This seriously, if not for the cytoplasm's a giveaway.
Yeah.
Like this kind of looks like a nucleated red cell.
Yes. It does.
It's totally got NRBC kind of features
It
to it.
does, because of how round the nucleus.
Yep.
I was talking about that the other day to a group of students about how when you see a super round nucleus, that's generally more of an NRBC thing.
Yep.
But this guy defies the law.
Yeah, totally. If you flash the cell in front of me, I'd call it a nuke 100 times out of 100. But when you look at the cytoplasm, red cells just aren't going to have granulation and grit and stuff like that. What the heck, man?
Our poor
Yeah.
audience on this one.
Seriously, yeah. Welcome to being a tech.
We're sorry, guys. Welcome to real life. Finally, somebody's sort of following the rules.
Yeah. So we got that pinching in, right? And so I'm guessing you're thinking like and then it's not just about the pinch, but the pinch relative to the width of the nucleus. So this, to my eye, looks like a meta. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he's finally following the rules.
If it pinches in more than 50% of the width of the nucleus, then we're going towards a band and other things. But cool, I can live with that one.
Did we already see them? I feel like we already saw him.
Yeah, but
I'm going the other direction. Yeah, this is better. Okay, we haven't seen these guys.
Yeah. Okay. So these are more these kind of like weirdish Milos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, I think all three of them are Milos.
Yeah.
And if you look, the three of them share similar chromatin pattern. Yep. The middle one, the chromatin looks a hair younger than the other two, but for the most part, they share the same features.
Yep, I agree 100%. And they these kind of look like our quote unquote NRBC too, right? Our NRBC.
They're not quite as round though.
Right.
Perfectly round like the other guy.
That guy's a jerk, but
that guy is a jerk. I agree.
Yeah, again, meta, I guess. But like it looks, no, wait. No, that's a lobe. I can see the.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's
folded.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I think, hold on, let me see if I can get my things again here. Yeah, annotate. Sorry, I'm not prepared. I almost see. Like, yeah. Do you see that or?
Yep.
And so yeah, that's just that's a neutrophil.
Yeah. It's a wonky neutrophil.
Mm-hmm. I'll defer. You got that kind of flat side. I don't know if this wants to be kind of a meta or.
I feel like it's borderline.
Yeah.
So then I'd go with meta.
Mm-hmm. Also, before you switch fields, write a field. There's a platelet without any granules. You see that?
He's big.
So, yeah. So,
but he's big.
Yeah, right. And so there's something to kind of look at. Some places will report a hypogranular platelet. The implication is that the platelets may not function as they should in a, yeah.
He looks like a limb.
Yep. Yeah, some of the neutrophils are the cytoplasm's so light in color, and then some of the lymphs will be a little bit light, and then you get this like weird, yeah. This actually happens, I'm kind of thinking in memory, where sometimes lymphs and like these Milos can kind of look a little bit like one another. Pro?
Yeah. The granules are not as prominent as the other pros.
Yep, I agree.
Oh yes.
Cool.
All right. Why don't we end with this group here?
Sure. Yeah, it sounds like a good spot to be. Which cell would you like to start with?
The top one.
Top one. I'll take the easy one. You can take the hard ones. Just tease them. So yeah, that it looks like a neutrophil. And so I want to be clear that we're really conservative about band calls. So we need the width of that nucleus to stay consistent throughout, making a C shape or an S shape or what have you. So those little deep tucks and pinches in, neutrophil.
You know what it looks like? It
What's
looks like this is a doggy's face, and then he's got really long.
The floppy ears.
Yeah, so his floppy ears are like this, right? You need them to be like this to be a band.
I almost have big enough ears for demonstration.
No, you don't.
So now the others.
Yep.
So what's interesting about these two cells is the one on the right hand side, the nucleus looks less mature, right, than the other cells around it. I don't know about the granules. They're kind of difficult for me to make out. Do you think that this is transitioned from pro to myelo at this point?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're both myelos.
Okay. This is
I
awesome.
think this one's just less clumpy.
Yep.
And this one's got way more of these dark purpley clumpy areas in here. But I think they're both still myelos.
Yep. And this is tricky, right? And under normal circumstances, you'll get much more consistency between the cytoplasm and the nucleus. But we always run into and I guess when we talk about putting these things in categories, myelo encompasses a period of time, right? So there's a bit of wiggle room in presentation.
Yes.
But usually they're not this different nuclear wise, right? But this is a malignancy.
Right, and I think that's the thing. It seems like this malignancy has dysplasia, a lot of dysplasia, and not all AMLs have a lot of dysplasia.
Right.
So that's why in a lot of the AML slides, you can see consistent, oh yeah, that's myelo, oh that's meta, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But when you have a lot of dysplastic features, that's when you get Dave and I just being like, nah.
Gross.
See, we think it's gross just like you guys do.
Definitely.
But it's all good. So I think that's all we have for this video. So thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you'd like notifications whenever we post a new video. And feel free to reach out to us on social media or via email with comments or suggestions about future content. Thanks.